Hey there, Joy of the World friends and family. I am Joy here to take an intuitive peek into what this season of the Taurus North Node. What does that also mean? Scorpio South Node. We're going to have a little chat here. So this doesn't have tarot, and if that bothers you, just go ahead and click off. But they've asked me this year to put up more informational and teaching videos because they said the cards just get in the way and they break up the energy of what I'm trying to say. So this year, you're still going to be able at this channel to obtain teaching and enlightenment type information, but also tarot. So they're just going to kind of part ways and fork them out of one another so that you can tune in specifically for what it is you're looking for. Plus, if there's anything we could say complicated or confusing that say in a reading, a person can go back and click the tutorial on that type of information, like how are the whole zodiac and that type of thing. So I don't have to reiterate it over and over and over again. We're all smart people here, and that way you can take it in your own stride, and that I don't have to clutter up the readings with as much reinforcement. Does that make sense? So anyways, Taurus North Node. So for me, this last one was particularly stressful. If you can't tell, if you weren't here before, I went through a little battle of some cancer back in July out of nowhere. But so my North Node is Sagittarius and my South Node is in Gemini. So it was like being stripped bare, reamed from the inside out, and that's what literally happened. They cooked me through and through, burn off all my red curls, and who knows what kind of hair I'll have when this is said and done. So anyways, that's the power of the nodes. If they were telling me when we step into the preparation of them and understand the language of them and the flavor that they're coming in, it's easier to harmonize and not to alter who we are, but it's like a synergy, a coming together of your energy with the energy that's there, that's afforded to you. So it's like rising to the challenge, but doing that in and of yourself. So they're kind of giving me a code, and they have been for some time, but they've gotten incredibly specific now. So I jotted a bit of it down the other day because it was coming in again, incredibly specific. Am I telling you this is what you should do? You are an intelligent being if you are here. So this is just background information, just to let you know kind of what's going on. Again, it's like I'm the signs on the side of the road, maybe even the park bench, a little bit of the geography going on around there. So they have two cards that they did pick. These are encouragement cards. These are enlightenment cards coming on in. I love it because you see the power of the mountains in both. So about support, reinforcement, looking for that. And quite a bit of it's going to be found in and with yourself. They're wanting to flow through you more. That's their withness. They said, we are with you, but we're doing it by flowing through you. And so they're wanting us to really hone in and focus more on what we already have. And it doesn't mean don't buy, don't do things, but you'll find that you've come so full circle that what is being presented to you and that you're attracted to, if you look in your closet, might already be there. If not, something very close to it that you might have been holding off for a period of time, where you never felt like you truly resonated with. Like for me, funny thing, it was a pair of boots. They were the exact same color, except one was in one material and one was in another. Same height, same shape, same stitching, same everything. But that boot was from, I don't know, about 15 or more years ago. It might have been the 18. Because the last time this was swinging around in this exact same direction in this exact same placement was 2004. So think of where you were then. That's what they're saying, is a lot of that got stuck and bogged down. A lot of what seemed like disconnect. Ooh, baby. They say put the wand on that. Some disconnect, what seems like some broken promises, some failed, some foiled, some lack of follow through, or maybe the timing and the steady, the pace, the clip clop seemed off. And at the bottom, they did definitely say, okay, clip clop. So start from the bottom and work my way up. They say, don't put the chart before your horse. So your chart is going to be important, but it's not who you are. We're coming into this, even the world's chart, which is what this is, that's called a transit, is when this thing that's still going in the heartbeat of life right now is laying over your own chart. So anyways, they talk about knowing who you are. So we'll start there. And it says, I let go of all expectations and hold on to appreciation. So again, it's not trying to do away with your desires. Look, y'all, that's why I decided to go ahead and record it. The rainbows are flying around the room, and they're like, now is as good a time as any. But they're wanting your heart to really soar and begin to take flight. This power of the bull crap, the bull shiz, the shiz diz that you've been selling and pushing yourself, pushing others. Others have been pushing you. The world's been pushing all that. All that fertilizer is going to be used to grow a beautiful garden. And I love it. Because that's what they were talking about, the garden. We'll get to that, y'all. That's very exciting. But your spirit is here to soar and fly free. They're talking about go from the bull, the being stuck, the holding out, the waiting, the holding on, to the calf that's frolicking and free, okay? Frolicking like a calf, this spring type energy, and not just because of Taurus being in the springtime. It's that it's finally time for this. We've moved into a lighter era because that tail end of the earth era that we've been in really had Taurus stuck. It was kind of constipated, should we say. And that's why there are these flumes and pushings of things going on through. And they're saying, don't add drama if you don't need to. Don't add spice if it already tastes nice. So they're saying, withhold judgment for a time, because judgment, justice, 7 of Swords, Hermit card, as well as Hangman have been showing up repeatedly. And it's saying, take another look, take another consideration, and deal with each thing as it comes. So let go of all expectations and hold on to appreciation. And what are you appreciative of all that you have achieved? Take a little time for some self-appreciation. This has been a long journey. It's almost as if it's sort of opened around this time, and it's closing now as well, closing it out to such an extent that they said eventually all you'll be able to go back into of the past is a closet. That's it. So beware which side you're on as you keep dillying and dallying. And I'm not saying you will. I'm talking proverbially to myself. I sit on the other side of this camera as well to learn my lessons, to get it powered up to the front of my mind, not just coming from the back. But some self-appreciation. This is learning to be more gentle and kind with yourself. Monotasking, achieving less in a day, because it's not about the achievement or the driving of purpose anymore. It's switching on to the meaning, and meaning will drive your purpose. Let's see what the back of this card says. Oh, Zig Ziglar. Okay, if you need encouragement, you ought to YouTube some of his stuff, all right? Motivational speaker. What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. I'm so glad they know what they're doing here, and that this is not up to me. I didn't know that was on the back of the card, but that goes along with the appreciation of the self, of course, because that's the card. But it also goes along with that meaning and purpose. Because there was this big move, and nothing against it, y'all, everything. But, now that we're in a forward state, we can take a better look at where all it has brought us. But there was this big sell of the purpose-driven life, of self-help, self-achievement, self-development, rising up. And they're really wanting to flux over into the journey of self-discovery, because that's not as driven as purpose-driven. It's where it has meaning, because meaning is the savor and the flavor of life. As you know, just putting something in your mouth does not satisfy. It is not the fulfillment that we are here to move into the energy of the invitation therein. So here is where I'm going to start to read my notes. So where they were talking about the garden, what I really like about that is during the time of Gemini, it was very enriching, especially shifting through what all the world's been going on right now. But all the judgment that you've built over the last 18 years or so are like lenses, different lenses in the mind's eye, or different size pants that you can pull out of the closet. They're kind of saying narrow that down a little bit. Begin to really decide and commit to who you are. Just like the lenses of the mind, they're really ousting the energy of chameleon, and nothing against it. They're talking about that chameleon energy of those who grew up in abusive situations or neglectful situations or difficult situations. You learn to adapt and adjust your energy, your persona, your piece of the pie or the wedge or whatever that energy that you're moving in is a form of self-preservation for a number of you. Okay, for many, many, many of you. And then there are a portion it was for, to bring pleasure, to be pleasing to somebody else. If you did it for the sake of not having your head knocked off, that's more in the self-preservation. If you did it in order to be appreciated, again, that could be in Y'all, forgive. Sometimes with this Cancer, I lose track for a minute. But it's a form of self-preservation, because trying to feel love and the sense of love and that connection. Well, the real deal is coming on in here. Where from you to you. So in this garden, the lenses of the mind, the judgment, they're saying withhold judgment for a bit. And that doesn't mean judging of others. It means deciding what side is which. Everything is still spinning and moving and coming to a close and coming to a stop as plasma begins to land in the sign of Aquarius. That's where it's going to take root and take hold and begin to move from there and develop and expand from there over the next, I don't know, periods of years, decades, whatever, however long those things last. I mean, I don't totally know. I'm learning as we go here, but it's a very long time. That's what I have to say. So they're also talking about with your possessions and weeding your garden, not just your mind, your mindset, your lenses, but also in your clothing, your belongings, things like that. Not just to really get rid of things, but each time you weed, you're also defining the space of what belongs to your plant or what you're cultivating or curating there, as well as the space around it. Okay. So when you go to look at go through your closet again, you might realize, why am I holding on to this thing? It has holes in it and I really did get it like 12 years ago. And you're like, well, I really just seemed like a couple of years ago. So it's a lot of inventory like that, a lot of processing and closing things out is what they're talking about. No need to hold on for emotional reasons anymore, okay? For sentimentality, things like that. They're talking about being able to freshen your perspective. So when it comes to your possessions or things that inhabit the space around you, ooh, okay, that's somebody. They're talking about curate it or clear it. So that means begin to harmonize it and things come together in certain patterns or nuances or things like that you begin to learn a lot about yourself, that you might go, well, I didn't realize I had that many clothes in this particular color. If you'll move them together, they're wanting to curate and let light things begin to come together. And then if not, to clear it. Things that are random, that which one of these is not like the other, might have been a good idea. Maybe revisit it, see if it can infiltrate in a different way. And if it doesn't, no guilt. Release it, let it go, however it needs to go. You're big, you know what that's about. It could be selling it, it could be giving it, it could be sharing it, it could be donating it, whatever it is. All right. Okay, so but they're also talking about prune to shape. That can be relationships, that can be ideas of business, that can be the hours that you keep as well. Is being able to refine it and bring it in, because it will become more abundant, more abounding, and more fruitful. I'm listening to specifically what they say as you shape it. So say you have a fruit tree or a bush, you go in to prune out anything that blocks the light to the choice fruit. And why is it called the choice fruit? Because you have to choose. You'll see this cluster of, say, pears, where all those little blossoms come out. And the reason why life creates so much is for the sake that some will make it. And that's a survivorship mindset. And that is what is leaving out. They're now telling us to take authority, to take ownership, to take possession of who we are. That's what it means to get in our chart and to be the leaders of our lives, to be our own mother and our own father by being our own self, our own identity, knowing where we come from, which is well beyond where we were born. That's where we came through. Okay, so the pruning, the shaping, it could be with relationships. It can be intentional. Everything, this word, okay, let me write that down. The word for this whole flow is intention, okay? Because wherever your intention, you send it. That's where your attention will go. But your intention should lead. That's how we right the wrongs and we flip it around to where our truth feeds our reality instead of our reality feeding our truth, okay? That's how we live in a state of hope, in a state of bliss. So the prune shape might be certain relationships that you find that they vibe well in this particular scenario with that friend, but maybe not in this one. So you begin to say no to these opportunities with that friend or invitations, and yes to the ones that work. Everything should be something that leaves you in a better state or in a balanced state as well. There's no more putting yourself out, putting yourself off. There's no more sacrifice. And they're saying anything that was sacrificed that you saw as dead, over, missed out, lost opportunities, those things are coming back around. It's like a giant resurrection from the dead is occurring. And for those of you whose hearts were broken, God, bless you. I speak life into you, and that your joy be restored. Okay, that's what this channel is really about. is rising up from those ashes, not to do it again. No, but to give yourself permission to join the party, to give yourself permission to be celebrated, to step into being loved, all those things, inhabiting the truth of who you are. Okay, so hopefully that made a little sense. These are pretty quick here, so you can listen back through. They will always be here for you. Now, they're talking about Taurus means business. Now, it says, kind of, some of you need here put up a shut up because that's a lingo that speaks to you. But Taurus is really wanting to be more forthright in saying, really put your money, aka your time and your energy, where your mouth is. So it says, if you make the time to say it, to speak it, to believe it, then you need to follow through with the do. That's why Taurus means business. Taurus is no longer sunken down, stuck in the mud. It was like, you know, something that I gotten in, why is it saying quagmire? Is that a real word, y'all? If it is, define it down below and share it with everybody, please. But it's like a quagmire, quicksand, that type. Okay. All right. But also recognizing that money is time and energy going together, letting them become the complements. Why Jupiter and Saturn came together, which is when they were together about 2,000 years ago when this era of plasma came through again. And it's also known as the land of miracles. And what is the miracle? A work of power. Being able to put your power and plant your power into yourself so that it brings forth life and it creates a system that, like the car, once you crank it, you don't have to crank it every time you stop or put in park or anything else, right? It's like ignition. Intention is like your ignition. And then the force can carry itself forward. And they're talking about do it today. And this state of Taurus is now. Deal with things as they come while they are fresh. So opportunities and some challenges, they'll begin to present themselves to you, maybe confrontations with old ideas. There's judgments. They're kind of structure-like, so it'll seem very like maybe affronting or offensive, and you'll think, oh, you aren't going to move me. And then just remember, I want to frolic like a calf. I want to be liberated. I would say free, but free means untethered. Liberated means free to go wherever you want, whenever you want, is this permission of ownership of oneself. But that way it'll keep it fresh. When these things come, whether it is a disagreement, whether it is a discrepancy in a bill, anything like that, they say as it comes, the best thing to do with this new energy of plasma, of air, of Aquarius, that whole thing going on, take it as it comes. See it as a gift of like, oh, wow, thank you. Oh, I've forgotten about that. Yeah, let's take care of that. And then things end up not being a big deal because you don't make a big deal by refusing, holding off, pushing off. That's very thick, heavy, sticky terrain energy. But the thing is you frolic and leap like a calf. I mean, you move that mass like nobody else. And that can move this mass of energy right here as well, the flesh, all right? They're also leading on into another nuance along those lines of disciple rather than discipline. That means listen to yourself. Okay, let your truth lead you. That still small voice that's not going to bully you or push you around. I mean, the neat thing about your spirit, about your soul, is it has a key to your life, but it will still knock at the door and wait for you to answer. Life is always waiting for your permission, okay? And they said that's where so much of the hell and high water came from, is putting things off and waiting. And then they get out of vibration. Then it takes on the attachment of an emotional energy as opposed to feelings-based. Emotion is a cocktail and a distortion, okay? That's where we can get the flickers of indigo or the misperception of like Saturn or Neptune. Those are some big planets with massive, should we say, shadows. And I don't mean they're retrograde. I mean the length of time that they can cast over a period of reflection is huge. So they're just kind of saying, take my word for it, go with it. And as you begin to go, you'll start to flow because I won't leave you. I'm right here with you. I will speak through you. I will speak to you. I'll begin to show you signs and wonders and confirmations along the way as you walk in it. You know, take that moment to stop and consider yourself instead of pushing yourself along. That's like pushing the car. They're telling you to lead yourself by example. That means less talk and more walk, okay? Throw it out there. Taurian energy, okay? We're all Taurus, remember? But some of you Taurus sun signs are like, move out my way. I love the cliche flying on in here. Why? Because they're true. They're true. And if we're wanting our truth to lead our reality, we take these couple of little bites, these little principles, these little steps that are so minuscule and minute that they're doable. They take no rearranging of your day, of your mind, of your time, and it begins to bend all of those things and shape them just like the bonsai. Just like a gardener, that shaping, that pruning, that molding, no longer the demanding, the pushing, the making, the deserving, the earning type energy. And they're saying also step into the state of learning. Instead of being resistant, learn instead of being taught. Okay, that's the hindsight, the 2020, the don't let the door hit you on the way out type of energy, when instead you want to be the head, which is what Taurus is here. Put your strength, your determination, your time, and your energy into facing things as they come, handling them as they arise, and then you begin to be a bit progressive. That's where some of that frolicking like a calf becomes like the catalyst and the ignition in the car that it fires off, and before you know it, your whole chart is spinning and moving, and they're synergizing, pulsating, and harmonizing together. What? The nodal shift, which is like a propeller going on top of your chart. Okay? So they say be knowledgeable and intimate. This is with who and what you already have in your life, people in your life, things in your life. It's just more on the curating, the pruning to shape, the intentionalizing of which is the plant versus which is the weed. Because I can tell you some of them have doppelgangers and they don't tend to grow on opposite parts of the yard. Okay, I planted a little laurel tree, little tiny thing. And as it grew a bit bigger, there was this little shoot that came off at the bottom. A couple of them actually. Pencil-sized shoots, which things can do at the soil line. And I thought, you know, maybe those are baby shoots rising up like Osage orange will do when you grow certain fruit trees. And I looked closer and I realized it was not a bay, it was a mocker. It was some sort of plant that is a woody type stem that has the same shaped leaves, just slightly darker. Okay, and no fragrance when you pop them, snap them. And it's growing right up under there. So that meant I couldn't send my children out anymore to go pull because those things grow at such a rapid rate because they're living off the livelihood of your good plant. So same as if you think of the proverbial garden of yourself, of your mindsets, of your intentions, of your beliefs, of who you are, would you keep exposing it to these other things, these mockers? All right. That's figurative and literal. So be knowledgeable and intimate. This is a time to, it's not even delving deep, it's becoming intimate, penetrating through, knowing the fullness thereof, gaining the meaning from what those things and who those people are in your life, so that then you can apply it. Then you become more intelligent in your interactions, and we're not moving about in a hurried frenzy or whatever. That's what gas prices up, food up. Why the consumption? They're just putting in to keep fueling and going forward. They're like, time to put a halt on that. It's time for us to begin to soar and to rise up in this energy of I let go of all expectations and hold on to the appreciation. And that really has more to do with going from your head and getting down into your gut. This is very facilitative of the Chiron being an Aries, very fiery, very first person, very much on the journey of self-discovery. So these two emerging together beautifully here, and I absolutely love it because when they had me do this, they said, draw out the color card. I was like, well, I could just show them from the other things. They're like, no, show them literally the colors that harmonize and resonate with this, that you're going to begin to see around you. And if you didn't know why, we'll already address it here. They'll speak to you and they'll pop up, and that's how you'll know this is life stepping in, going, yes, that's it. You've got this. You're great. It is our cheerleader, but we didn't know the language. And this being the Seven of Swords showing up in all of my decks of cards, it was saying beware of self-sabotage. Of shooting yourself in the foot, putting yourself out, because Taurus has been a bridge burner for quite some time. It's like, oh, you hurt me? I know what to do about that. I'm done with you. So where's my match? Where's my fire? Where's my magic wand? Where's my spell? Where's my tongue? I'm going to slice. I'm going to dice. I know, y'all. Ask me how I know. Now we all have Taurus, but I got Mars and the moon sitting right on top of each other up in the middle of it, 5th house. Talk about messing with me and messing with my children. I'd be like, what? Anyways, so just a little laugh for those of you who get that part. So anyways, let's get back to the colors. But there are also colors that you can begin to work into your life supportively, like through artwork or through a pillowcase, or maybe if you're into that, eyeshadow or nail polish, or maybe certain crystals will come about to you as well. I might do another supportive thing on that, like with the fluorite and certain ones that are coming in to really bolster this time. Yeah, okay. I'll do a crystal reading as well. But anyways, to give y'all, that is more for health and wealth and protection going on there. But the colors are really to just take on the joy of this. And when you see those things surrounding you and supporting you, it keeps you inspired. It keeps you uplifted, because it's not just something you're seeing. Your eyes are picking up the vibration and registering that because you've addressed it as a color. How? Ask a person who's colorblind. Let me tell you all, we're being communicated with all the time. It's time for us to put away those denials of it and begin to embrace it and get on board and on page with life and ourselves, okay? Now look at this. So we have the shades of purple coming in. It's many of them. It can even go into the dark, like midnight purples, the blue purples, that type of thing. But it's coming along in these particular shades, especially starting out as this warmer energy coming in. Really like glassy greens, maybe even jadeite greens. You'll see a lot of that showing up in this season right now. Then there's more of the emerald, the grassy green, that type of thing, and then getting into the warmths of the olives. But you can see all the spectrums. This is just the card that they had me color up here so that you could kind of get the gist of what we're saying. But it can go into the cooler or the warmer tones, but it is a multitude of greens, a portion of the purples. Then we definitely step down into these berry tones. Now this could also be like plum, raspberry, mulberry, maybe almost on the edge of blueberry. And I'm not telling you to stay away from anything else. I'm just letting you know the harmonizing vibe of this Taurian North Node. And then for some of you, your pink is going to be more supportive for you than the purple. You're really going to feel it more for a period of time. It can come in like magenta, fuchsia, hot pink is definitely vibing for many of you that are stepping into an energetic field that exceeds beyond what we can see, into the fluorescent, into the opalescent, that type of ascension going on. And then these, yes, they're yellows, but it also is hinting to metallics of any sort, that they're very supportive, cohesive going along with this time. But it's going to be more abstract metallics, like pewter instead of just straight up silver. Now gold, and gold will be in all shapes, sizes, and forms coming on in, but as well as it could be brass, copper, those type of things, rose gold, all that stuff. And then we end with brown. Brown is becoming the new black. And so this is almost like all the bounty and the fruits and the delights coming forth from that soil, from the shiz diz that you've been sitting in, Taurus, your Taurian part of your chart, stuck for quite a long time. Now, they're also talking about appreciation is key, or Chi. So this is coming in with a lot of Chironic energy. Chiron has been moving through due to the solar eclipse and lunar eclipse that were going on, and moving on in a secret way of creating this pathway and this channel, you know, almost like a little underground tunnel for those of us to leave one world and to enter into another, and to, like, the fortitude of our mind to be able to step in and to fully embrace it, to do like it said in one of the previous videos, to change your mind quickly, to realize it is vibration and it is energy, all of it. So rather than worry, you pray. So rather than fall out under the pressure of something, you get up and turn your dance on, or put your cologne or perfume on, or do something that feels beautifully expressive to you when you're feeling weighed down. All right. I'm talking about the moment that you feel it. Start that spark and push back on it, almost like, really? This is my garden. Thank you. I know how I feel, and I choose to feel wonderful. I choose to feel supported and loved. That's the energy I'm going to stay into. That's what it talks about with this appreciation. Never let the things you want make you forget the things you have. All right. So don't be trading off the things going on inside. When those feelings and those things do come, confront them. Remember, go back to that one about meaning business, is getting on board with yourself, dealing with things as they come, leading by example. So it's not as much getting this really good excitement going on and going and teaching it and sharing it to everybody else. They're saying, let it be show, not tell. Show and tell, since Taurus is over possessions and pleasure. Let people see you enjoying your life. And it's not to show y'all. That's what I'm saying, is let it flow. It's the full beauty, the embodiment. That's why it's frolicking like a calf. It's not this mind power, and it's not, you know, we're dismissing the judgment and the justice for a moment to allow those things to take care of themselves. Okay. Good numbers showing up are the 3 and the 8. I know we're in the year of the 6, but the energy that is resonating with this, so that will come along with quite a bit of a Saturnian energy, but also Pluto power, which we'll talk about at a later date. And then stepping in with yourself as well. You might want to look up your life path number. Okay. You can Google that and they'll tell you how to do it. Super simple. Now we're going to talk about your personal nodes. Now, your personal nodes, when you look at your chart, they look more like, let me draw it down. They look like that. That's the north node. That is the south node. Often this is not depicted, but it is exactly across 180 degrees from this. So you find out where yours is, like mine's in Sagittarius, okay? So now we have the north node going in Taurus. So I've got fire and I've got earth going together, so I could get some things moving and some things going. They're both kind of in the mid-range energy, and so they're supportive of one another. So Sagittarius is going to serve more like my noun or my verb, and then the essence of Taurus is going to come on over like my adjective and my adverb. It's going to add the description. It's going to be like, you know, she really is a joyful person. That's what they might say. But they also might say bright and joyful. Okay, so maybe Taurus brings in the brightness with me, or maybe it brings in the enthusiasm, those type of things, or it describes how I get things done. So they're wanting you to be able to merge it along with your own. Let me see, was there anything else that they wanted to talk about? We've already been heading there, I can tell you that. So like in mid-December, around the 19th, it began to dislodge from Gemini and start to move its way towards Taurus. And this is by sake of how the nodes move, they're going to begin to bring things to you. They're also whispering to me a bit about the secrets of how to recover retrogrades that are in your chart, because the nodes are naturally retrograde, that it can deal with planetary retrogrades, sweep them up and bring them in as an assistive force instead of something malefic that works against you, like drag. But, you know, instead be like the forces where lift. Is that how airplanes, they learn where the air is, and then it's a mathematical grade of which the wings are angled so that they get lift when they move. So it's going to be an assistive force like that. Hopefully these things make sense, because they have me talking about stuff I don't know too much about. But anyways, I want you guys to know I love you and I believe in you. Keep going. You can leave your questions down below. Leave your compliments down below for me or for yourself or for someone who's walked along this path with you. Even put down there your intention. Remember, intention is everything, because wherever the head goes, the body will follow. And so don't just be responding and see whatever grabs your attention and weigh it off as such. They're telling you to start within. To start at your core, to start at your center, and to set your intentions, not like goals of what you want to do, but how you want to feel, what you're accomplishing with this, what you want to experience in your life. Okay, being very intentional. All right, I love you. Talk soon. Bye.